This is the Bill Squire Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bill Squire Show, and we're starting things off this week with the Instagram hottie, because this Instagram hottie has a blue check mark, so she doesn't have to wait till later in the episode. We start things off with Gab.
Hello.
Hi Gab, how are you doing?
I'm good. You just jumped right into it.
Yeah, that's kind of, what we do here. Because it's just me, and I don't really know how to start shows yet. So I just start going, and then we'll see what happens, see where we go.
I like it.
It's just like a freewheeling discussion, and it's a lot of fun. And then I keep forgetting like these things that I'm supposed to be doing. Like I'm supposed to be picking reasons why I put the shoes up that I put up on the walls, because I try to rotate them every week.
Oh,
but
okay.
I've completely I feel like abandoned that, and it's just it is what it is now.
Oh, there's a really colorful one over there I like.
Which one? The purple one?
Way to the left. Neon.
Oh, yeah. Those ones are, that's a Russell Westbrook shoe. I got that. I put those up in an early episode. I like those ones. Those are fun.
Those are fun.
They're actually reselling pretty good right now, so I might actually hang on to those for a little bit. I haven't worn them yet. And then I'll resell them and make a profit.
Oh, so you're into that. Okay.
I mean, I'm not always into that, but if like that's not a shoe that I already have two other of his kind.
Okay.
So if those ones are gonna, make me a few $100, I'll be like, yeah, sell them.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a hot market for that. Anytime I try to sell something on friggin' Marketplace or anything, it never works for me.
It never works out. It's tough.
No.
Well, the shoes have a pretty good resale value if you know what you're doing, and I've gotten better at it. But I really, most of the time, I just go, maybe I'll resell these, and then I wear them so that they lose their value. And I'm like, oh, I guess I got to keep them now.
Okay, yeah.
And that's kind of the way I deal with my compulsion. Which in my first episode of the show, I talk about it with my buddy who's a comedian, and he's like, so when did your shoe addiction start? And I'm like, no, it's just the collection. But I think it may have moved since that episode to where it is now, from collection to straight addiction.
And I feel like it's probably subconscious too when you wear it and you're like, oh, now I can't sell it. You're probably like,
oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's like, it's, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good comparison where it's like you are making food for somebody and you're like, oh, they're not going to want this, and you eat it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like I'll make them another one.
I just did that today, actually.
Yeah.
I had vegan chocolate for a friend of mine from Sweet Designs. That's where I'm doing a little social media work. Mm-hmm. And it's been at my house for over a week. We just haven't connected. And today I finally broke, and I was just like, oh, like unwrapped it, had the bow on it and everything. I was like, I'm going to have to get it.
You're like, fuck it, I'm going for it. I love it. You also said you're working on today a Fun Fact Friday, which is something that you do on your social media.
Yeah.
On your Gabriella, are you just Gab Kreuz on?
I'm Gabriella. I'm Gabriella Kreuz on
Instagram. Gabriella Kreuz on Insta. And you said you were working on it, and then you kind of had a little brain fart.
I know. I freaking spent so much time making my Fun Fact Friday video, and my air conditioner was on in the background. Mm-hmm. And so when I even went to edit it, I was flawed in my hearing because it was still on while I was editing it.
So you went through the entire process and then realized, oh, damn it.
Kind of. Like, when I started to edit, I was like, this might not sound great.
Yeah.
But then when I finally got to an environment without the air conditioner, I was like, I realized my mistake.
I've done stuff like that all the time. If you listen to the early episodes of this podcast, you've heard some audio mistakes. You've definitely heard Whoopsie barking in the background. She's here today. She's just not barking because she was actually, I don't know, she's pretty well exercised today because she spent the day with my daughter, and my daughter whooped her butt, kept her busy. So now she's pretty docile, which is nice. But yeah, I've because I just get so excited about what I'm doing that I forget those little things. And like one time I recorded when I was doing Flicks and Bill, which I keep saying I'm going to bring back at some point, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I did this episode with my friend Sarah, who was actually last week's Instagram hottie. You guys are completely different. She is a comedian that is now on OnlyFans, showing her butt to everybody. Very open about it, so that's why I like talking to her.
Okay.
Because she's just like some people do that stuff and they're like ashamed of it, and she's like, "No, I love it. Just tell everybody. I want So
Transparent about it.
Yeah, I love that transparency.
And she's got business to cook up, by the way. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it works.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we did an interview, or we did a Flicks and Bill like almost 2 years ago, and it was so fun and so funny. And then it just I deleted it by accident. Well, I saved something over it. So I saved something as the same file name and it replaced it.
No.
And I was so fucking mad because it was such a funny episode.
Oh, that is literally the worst.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those. I mean, I've had my hard drive crash.
Ooh.
That happened to me last year, and I had to drop $900 to get like it recovered because literally all my shit was on there. I couldn't like
Gotta have that cloud backup.
lose it. Yeah, I know.
I got like my Apple cloud backup. I got Google. I got like 2 different cloud backups to make sure that everything gets saved. So if there's something like that happens, I'm gonna be okay.
So you can cloud back it up even if it's on your hard drive?
Yes.
With Apple iCloud?
With Apple. With the iCloud you can set it up so like if you're talking like you can go through and select what things you want to back up.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I'll do like pictures and videos and things like that I'm not gonna be able to recover otherwise.
Yeah. I needed to have it in more than one place. Now I've got it in a couple places, but yeah, I learned that one the hard way too.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And even with Fun Fact Friday, I thought I was gonna, I did it on bees.
Was it the bees? Did you use the one that I posted?
I didn't use that one.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed. Do you still have it? Because my phone's recording this, so I can't pull it up.
Oh yeah, all right.
But we'll do a little impromptu. Is that how you say that word?
You nailed it.
Impromptu. Because I've done like commercials where I said impromptu, and I know that's not how you say it. So I added a syllable, but
it was on your story.
It's on my story, but if you replied to it, it might still be there.
No,
did it
it's
delete?
not.
Okay. Well, the fact was that.
I can tell you it too.
Okay, all right.
Because I did a lot of bee research.
All right. So this is an impromptu Fun Fact Friday with Gab Kreuz.
So there are male bees and female bees, obviously. The queen lives for 5 years, so she kind of gets,
She's the queen.
Yeah.
She's running things.
And to give you perspective, all the other bees, they live 5 to 6 weeks. And their main purpose, basically for her, the queen bee, she's got a mate. She like lays 2,500 eggs a month or something, or a day, like in the summer. Well, apparently when the male bee ejaculates, he like gets ripped off from the abdomen down. So including the genitalia of the male bee.
So because I feel like the one that I posted, it read like just the dick got ripped off.
No, yours was that it got exploded.
Exploded. Okay.
But technically, I'm pretty sure if I read it right, the penis stays. I love this. I love saying the word penis.
You're such a dork.
Penis. Okay. But yeah, that stays stuck in the female bee, and then the testicles explode, and then he falls to his death. Like, what a way to go out!
But wait, like that's
Hey, do you think?
But imagine how it probably feels pretty good.
Okay, here. Okay.
Like for that male bee, he's like, you know what? It's worth dying. It was that good. It was that good.
I don't know. That's a quick 180 though.
It is a quick 180, but then it's
pretty
also
high to pretty low very quickly.
But being a male, I know that in that moment, right after you have that release, you feel pretty calm, and so you're just accepting of whatever's happening.
Okay, so he's cool with it.
He's pretty like he's just awash in what do they call those?
He's
endorphins.
Oxytocin.
Yeah, oxytocin.
He's just in
like,
oxytocin
yeah, so he's
coma.
just chill, and he's just like.
And he's just on his way down,
it.
like you're a legend.
I did a job. Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of baby bees because of me, and I'm happy about that. And I'm part of the hive now forever. Yeah, living on through my progeny.
Yeah, that's a crazy fact, though. Mm-hmm. I really thought that was made up, and I had to Google it because Bill, you shared it. You shared it on your story. That's how.
Right, and I'm not trying to educate people. It just had to do with dicks, and I was just like, that's funny. Bees, dicks explode when they have sex. So. There we go. There's some whoopsie background noise.
There she is.
No barking, but at least you're hearing her. But yeah. So So what's the idea behind the Fun Fact Friday? Is that something you're trying to get going for your social to just kind of build up a following and also just kind of not lose your mind?
Right. Well, what I was going to say too, by the way, is that with the air conditioner, I thought I was going to get lucky that like it might sound like bees in the background. So I'm like, maybe if I could just like get it out of a few clips, I can plant it as if it's a swarm.
It's bee noises, yeah.
But no, it didn't work out that way.
No, it just sounds like an air conditioner.
Yeah.
It's distracting. Oh, that's such a bummer.
I know. It was a buzzkill, if you know what I mean. Oh, I hate myself. Okay. Penis! Beehive yourself, Gab. Okay.
Honor roll. Okay. You're killing it.
I am the queen, so.
Yes. So, what have you been doing to keep yourself busy? No Indians this year for you, it seems like. Let's talk real quick about what do you think about the name change?
So,
where do you fall
I have
on
a
that?
favorite? Or?
Well, where do you fall on it? Like, what's your thinking behind it? And if they do have to change the name, what's your favorite?
I am one of those people who I do have emotional attachment to things, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. But I also have when I zoom out, I'm like it's just a name.
It's just a name, right?
So
as much as you are attached to it, because I feel the same way. Like
it's nostalgic for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you said, like you said, you take a wider scope and you look at things through other people's eyes, you go, okay, I can see why this is upsetting and why it's going to change regardless of what I feel.
Oh, right.
So why keep fighting it when I can just accept it so we can move forward?
And in a perfect world, what would have been super just awesome was if from the get-go it was
Christopher Columbus named them what they are. He's like, oh, we're in America. These are Americans. Instead of calling them Indians because he's fucking dumb. All right, what were you gonna say?
True that. I was gonna say it would have been really cool if the organization right from the get-go had laid out a map of like why they chose the name and if it was in some sort of celebratory, honoring way that brought some history, Native American history into it and made it like cool in that aspect. And it was specifically meant to honor, and we had like an education day, or like something that was really
something
meaningful.
From the jump.
And
but even if you did
celebratory, maybe.
It's still and because I never thought it was made in like with any animosity. I feel like it's always been a way of trying to honor them. But when you like look at it and you go, okay, well, this isn't the way they want to be honored because they think of themselves as natives, as indigenous people, and when they hear Indian, it doesn't conjure up who they actually are and what they are. It conjures up stereotypes from like John Wayne movies, like cowboys and Indians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so in the fact that they weren't Indians, they were Native Americans, you have a lot of just mixed feelings and just and you just want people to be more aware of the history. Like I was talking with one lady about it, and I was talking to her about the Trail of Tears and how it's basically been like a genocide for the Native Americans. And she was just like, well, if that's true, I'm like, it is all true. It's just, and she's like, but she didn't want to hear it because she's only and she's like, well, we are a melting pot here in America. I'm like, yeah, but we stole the pot. Like that's the thing. Like it was their pot and we just started using it and we didn't share with them. We took from them.
Well, that's why I was saying it would have been really cool when we talk about minorities and history in America. That's why I think it would have been super cool if we were celebrating some of these minority groups that have a really cool history that maybe need to be more brought to light to educate other people. Yeah. But like you mentioned, it doesn't, first of all, it's not the right name. Like it is that awkward. So it wouldn't have worked out and we can't do that now. So it's just like, all right, the name change is on the table and I'm kind of like, it's just a name. So
yeah, it's just a name. When it comes down to it, it's a name. It's a sports team and it should be fun for everyone. And does it stink to have to move on a little bit? Yeah, it does. But it's also like I get excited about it because I think it can open new things and it can give you new perspective and also just a new design and everything that you don't have to be like. I can't look at like Chief Wahoo and feel good about it anymore. I used to be able to, but now that I've seen the art that it's depicted after and know the history there, it doesn't. I don't see that and feel the fondness that I used to.
It-
I'm not
yeah.
I'm not blissfully ignorant anymore.
I was about to say it lost its luster when you become educated.
Mm-hmm.
It does lose its luster. You know, like you didn't. For the longest time, I think I was just ignorant about it. Like as a
Right.
kid, I had no idea.
Of course,
even.
no, because as a kid you're just seeing it as a cartoon.
Yeah, you don't.
So you're just like, this is neat because I like cartoons.
Right. I'm probably so dumb. I don't even think for the longest time I realized it was supposed to be an Indian.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like you said, a cartoon. Like I didn't put that together.
Right. I thought it was like a bird or something.
Right. Yeah.
And that's honestly what I thought. So what, as far as the new names go, what do you think are the best options?
So I immediately gravitated towards spiders.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, because I saw a really cool logo.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of the web and spider. It's cool.
It's kind of edgy. There's not anyone doing that really.
Yeah.
And I think that you can do a lot of cool things with the different kinds of spiders there are. Like there's so much. There's such an interesting, cool insect that I'm all on board with the spiders. I love buzzards too, which I think that's just a licensing nightmare though. Because like my buddy Pants did a design where it went from the Cleveland Indians to the buzzards, and it uses the logo from WMMS, and it looks awesome, and it's like really cool everything that he did, but the licensing that would have to go on between the station,
Oh, okay.
iHeartRadio, and Indians would be, I think, difficult.
Yeah, true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
But I like spiders a lot.
I do too, and it's kind of a
'cause the
throwback.
web
We
thing,
used to
yeah.
be the spiders,
We used
so
to be
it's
the
kind of a
spiders,
cool
so-
like throwback,
Yeah.
like bring it metro or retro type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else did I like?
I don't hate the blue socks. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's got
blue
like a
socks.
very baseball centric theme to it, and then or just the blues even. I'm okay with.
Yeah, blues isn't bad, and that would play right into our hand about feeling a lot of blues in Cleveland sports.
Right, exactly. I had another one that I really liked that I don't think anybody else dug as much as I do, but it more ties into the Rock Hall, and I think the Cleveland Beat. Not.
Oh yeah,
I think that
like
one would be cool
idea
because
from
drum beat. We could still have John Adams out there
Mm-hmm.
from time to time. I think there's and like maybe even like do like a full on like drum line or something. I think that would be very
Yeah.
cool to go with the Cleveland Beat.
I
I know there's a lot of jokes that you can make, like, oh, we beat Cleveland. Cleveland beats themselves, whatever.
right, true.
But, yeah, but I think
We could probably figure that out with any name that we do.
exactly. Yeah,
We stomped on the spiders. We squashed the spider.
Right.
Whatever. There's always going to be something.
there's always gonna be something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, spiders is what really jumped out at me. I liked your beat idea. Would we be beat singular or beats Cleveland?
I like it singular.
Beats. Cleveland beat.
I like the Cleveland Beat.
Yeah.
I feel like the Beats feels more. I don't know. It just doesn't sound as like all together. Like if it's the Cleveland Beat and we march the beat of our own drum kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
I think
it's
you're
got
right.
more of a like oomph to it.
We got the beat. We got the beat. Yeah, we got the beat.
All right. Well, there goes our monetization on this episode because now it's going to go to that song.
No.
I'm kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. I don't get fucking money for this.
If it's under 5 seconds, I think we're clear.
No, it's fine. And we didn't. It's only if you actually play it, and also this isn't monetized yet, so
Oh, okay.
we're working our way up. We're trying to get there. All right.
After this episode, maybe you will be.
Maybe we will be. Maybe you'll be the magic goose that lays the golden egg for this episode of the Bill Squire Show. So what else is going on in your life? You did you do any dating or anything like that during quarantine or?
A little bit, not quite, like
Yeah.
a little casual
Okay.
dating, you know.
Let's ask this question. What's your idea of like a good first date? Because we're living in a time where people don't feel like go on dates anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, meet me here. Let's hang out, we'll Netflix and chill, all that shit. But like a good date, like if you want to go on a good date, what's your idea?
I think a good date is fun. Like you gotta
I'm gonna say that is also yeah.
like maybe like
I don't take a lot of first dates to funerals or like an orphanage or anything like that.
I meant like there's got to be an activity involved.
No, I
that, like,
agree.
you know, maybe
An activity where you can be maybe a little bit competitive with each other,
right.
or like, and then it keeps you from, as long as you have that going, if there's a lull, you have the activity to go to.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I did go to 16-bit recently, and that was a fun like icebreaker.
That's a fun date. I love.
type of date.
What games do you play?
So
What's your like if you're going to 16-bit, the game that you want to get to and like play that one? What's the one that you feel like you're the best at or the funnest one for you?
I got super competitive on this punching / it was kind of like Tekken, but it's not called Tekken, and I don't know what it
Killer Instinct.
but it was super fun because
Mortal Kombat.
I was kind of guessing, and I get my whole body into it, like, you know.
Oh, you're a move the controller kind of person?
Yeah, like, and you gotta.
Well, then you should play Wii. That's more your style.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what was I also pretty competitive at? Donkey Kong. Frogger.
Fucking, I love me some Frogger.
Yeah.
I like Frogger, and I like Burger Time. That one's pretty intense.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to that one, but that is intense.
Mm-hmm.
The timing.
I like
and
those
everything.
older ones. Like you can, the skill that it takes to play some of those is really, it's impressive what people can do.
Yeah.
Especially if like you go back, like I don't know if you ever saw. There's a documentary called The King of Kong. It's about this guy that's like really good at Donkey Kong Jr. and like he's like setting these records and like trying to like dethrone this other guy that like cheated or whatever. But it's really, but people are super into Donkey Kong to this day.
Really?
Yeah. And it's wild.
Yeah, I think that you have to be pretty skilled to do Pac-Man, and then
Yes.
like
the timing that
Centipede, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a tough
remember
one.
those? That one used to be on the computer.
Yeah. A lot of these ended up on the computer, and like there's also like the Snake on the phone, like when you have like the Nokia phone,
Right?
And you'd play Snake on there, and that shit was aggravating, but it was fun.
Do you remember Jazz Ball? Did you ever play Jazz Ball?
Jazz Ball.
Okay, like you click
Explain.
the screen and this arrow goes up and down. It blocks the balls. And you
I
have
don't think I ever played
you have
that
to
one.
make it small. Oh, me and my sister, that was a big computer game that I
yeah.
never did see like transfer into
Like
like
the
an
new-
arcade style,
Yeah.
but another competitive one.
Yeah, I like the simple ones like that where you can learn how to play it quickly. There's like modern video games where like first person shooters and stuff like that. The just trying to learn how to play it is really, it's not my thing. Like I played it a little bit, but I never like I kind of fell off video games before that became like the big thing. So I like something where I can just pick up and start playing like a Mario Kart or like like that's similar to games that I played in the past.
I freaking loved Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, that's a fun game.
Playing that at sleepovers in grade school. And yeah, Mario Kart. We would play like Mario something on the GameCube.
Oh, probably Mario Party.
Yeah.
Where it's all the mini games, yeah.
yeah.
And you can pick up on it real quick, and everybody
Right.
can play, and everybody yells and swears at each other, and
It's funny how
intense, it's
angry
great.
you can get at
Oh
these
man,
things.
it is. Ooh. I would play Madden against my roommate when I lived in New York City, and one time he beat me, and it was like a bullshit play, and I took my controller and I chucked it, and luckily I chucked it into my laundry basket so nothing got broke, and I also slapped the Xbox, also landed in the laundry basket. Nothing got broke, but he was like, "Bill, you need to calm down."
I was just watching a thing on, I don't know, it was on Instagram, but it was like people's hostile reactions to losing.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yeah,
them
I'm
were
a bad
video.
loser.
A lot of them were video games though.
Yeah.
People were like so, and there's like a best friend
Yeah.
cackle laughing, like watching the other person just
Because that's the
storm off
best
and
feeling.
throw
Like
stuff.
whether it's your best friend or like your brother or something, and you're beating them and they're losing their mind. Oh my god, being on the other side of it is so enjoyable. But when you're the one that's losing, you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's so dramatic. You blow it way out of
Oh
proportion.
man, I get it though.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but other things I've been up to during quarantine. I don't know, just like trying to bounce around to different odd gigs I've got cooking. So
Okay, so wait, let's go back real quick. The date, ideal date, activity. Like pretty much that's what it comes down to. You need a good activity, so don't go see a movie.
Activity. People
don't
who,
just sit
people
and
who
eat dinner.
ask like you to a movie on the first date, I think are like
Stupid.
it's not.
Yeah, because you're not gonna get to know each other.
No, you're gonna sit there and
I
it's
don't
gonna
even-
get awkward.
Yeah, and I don't want to see him. Like, what if we have completely different tastes in movies?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's okay if you have a relationship already, but you can't build a relationship when you go like we go see a movie and I'm like, I thought that was a piece of shit, and you're like, well, I loved it. It's my favorite movie now.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna be great.
There was this kid who took me to a movie Lincoln when it came out
Oh yeah,
in theaters. I'm sure
that's not romantic.
I'm sure history buffs like
Loved it.
loved it. But that was the longest movie ever, and it was the first date we've ever been on, and he was like trying to do the moves, and I'm like, like, this is...
You're not going to get her in the mood with Lincoln. It's not...
He just got shot in the head. Like,
right, yeah. And before that, it was 2.5 hours of talking in a room.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all that... It's not a good date movie.
No.
Well, yeah. People need help.
And I had to buy the candy for that, too.
Oh.
It was kind of just...
That guy sucks. I'm guessing he didn't get a second date?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was
gotta do a good first date. I'll usually do something like activity, and then I like, maybe like a cocktail or something beforehand to kind of loosen up.
Mm-hmm.
But like a place like 16-bit where you can have a cocktail while you're going, that's nice. But I like that dynamic of like getting a little loose, having an activity that you can do so you can kind of get to know each other and still have something to focus on, that so you're not just like, tell me everything about you.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, and twice I went to Dave & Buster's on a first date.
Okay.
And
see, but I feel like that might be a little too intense.
It was because listen, the first one I went on, this was in college with a football player, so like he was competitive. Mm-hmm. But like what I remember is I was beating him and everything. And it got awkward though.
Yeah,
like it wasn't cute anymore.
Because not only is he probably a little bit he's competitive, but he's probably a little bit misogynistic. And he's like, a girl's beating me. I feel so emasculated.
Like you can't turn off the competitive part of you. Like once you're in it, like I want to win. I'm not gonna, I don't know.
That's funny.
But then karma flipped it right the second. Then I went on another first date with a different person to Dave & Buster's a few years after that, and this guy just beat me on everything. Didn't let me win. Like didn't give me any like. So and it wasn't bad, but it was also kind of like, this is where I'm double standard. I'm just being a sore loser. Yeah. But I was like, come on, this is the first date. Like let me win like one of them.
No, I wouldn't. No.
But then, yeah, I have to understand I have to understand my own bias. Where like in the first story, like I said, I wasn't gonna come off the gas.
And that's what the thing. Like you gotta kind of know. You gotta read the person and be like, okay, if we're that competitive, I'm not gonna let them win anything. I'm gonna talk friendly shit where it's like, this is fun, but I'm not gonna get like mean about it and like just see like, okay, do we have that kind of back and forth, that kind of chemistry, and and make it like a good. Like almost like an inside joke between like, it's like, I had a really good time, and I won't tell anybody that you're terrible at skee ball. Like you're just a piece of shit when it comes to skee ball. And it's a skill that people, children can do it, but you can't. Like something like that. Like I think that could be fun, and you can see who that person is.
Yeah. So you're saying you would not let the person win?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to go out with a child. I want to go with an adult. I want someone that can.
I get it, because that's how I am too. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, I was like, "Why?" I was getting so frustrated.
But I'm also not going to stay on the same game that I'm dominating on. I'm going to keep going to games and find something that maybe you could beat me at. Like
it's my own loss. I was shitty at every single one that we played, and I'm still a little bitter about it.
Okay, all right. Well,
especially Connect 4, because that's my jam. Like I'm really good at Connect 4.
I like me some Connect 4. I used to play Connect 4 with my kids when they were little, and did not let them win.
Oh yeah, I would never.
And like this is like, especially when they got like. They learned the strategy. So we had a lot of like tie games, and then eventually they figured out like, okay, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And they figured out the strategy, because once you figure out the strategy of Connect 4, it's pretty competitive, and it's really, you're just waiting for the other person to not pay attention.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
If you're playing with somebody who really knows what's going on, it's either going to be one of those tie games, or it's going to be they didn't see like one step ahead where you got them on. You could win both ways.
Exactly.
So
that's what
screwed.
you're trying to set up. Yeah. And so once they saw that, especially my youngest, he would play that, and he figured out those two-way moves where you could do that. And so he got good and like would beat me almost more than I would beat him.
Oh, wow.
Because he got very good at deceptively setting up. He wasn't like one or two moves away. He was setting up like 4 or 5 moves.
Yeah.
Because he saw my patterns, and I was like, God damn, this gets smart.
You got that Rubik's Cube thinking.
Yeah.
Few
Have you ever been
ahead.
able to complete a Rubik's Cube?
No.
Me neither.
But to be fair, I haven't really investigated the formula.
Yeah. Good point.
I was just always kind of like hoping.
Yeah, you're just like, well, and then you, because I feel like it was more of an accomplishment before, but now I feel like you can just Google the formula and be like, okay, that's how you beat it.
True that. There were, like, before the kids were geniuses, and now we're just Cliff Notes.
But now I feel like I have to try Rubik's Cube and see if I can figure out the formula.
Yeah, so my friend was showing me the other day, like, it's all, you got to start with the sides. You got to make a small square on each corner side with colors.
Okay.
You know, and it's hard to explain.
I don't think I have the patience.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. Well, all right, Gab.
I love puzzles.
Anything else you want to add? Anything you want to promote before we wrap this up?
Oh, yeah. So how about I promote... You should go and listen to my music on Apple Music or wherever you stream.
There you go.
That'd be great.
It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music and Pandora, I think. Pretty much wherever you can stream music, you can listen to Gab's music.
Enjoy yourself.
It's fun. It's good stuff. So check out Gab's music. What's the most recent song you released?
I Cry.
I Cry.
Yeah.
And what's that song about?
I Cry. Cry is... It's just about how I cry. I don't know. I don't know that it's just different than, like, My World was more of like an empowerment song, and
Cry is more in your feelings kind of thing.
Light as a Feather was more like flowy and high, and Cry was the emotional piece. So, but what's cool is it's kind of like an up-tempo song, though, like with this bohemian kind of sound. So I like the contrast of
it. I like songs like that where they trick you. They're like, okay, this is like an upbeat kind of fun song, but it's got some heavy content in it too. Do you know Hey Yeah by Outkast is that kind of song? Like, that song's a really heavy song, but it's so goddamn fun.
Right.
So you're just like, hey, this is so fun. And then you're like, oh, this is about a really devastating moment in this guy's life.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I need to go Google the lyrics to that, because when we were jamming to that probably all went over my head.
Yeah, because of the tempo and everything. You're like I think it's about
happy here.
Yeah, it's about like moving on from a relationship.
Okay.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So check it out.
So check that out. Follow Gab on Instagram and Twitter at the Sports Gab on Twitter, and Gabriella Cruz on Instagram. And thanks for listening to the Bill Squire Show. We got a few more segments coming up, so stay tuned for those. And then make sure you remember that Gab loves to say
penis.
What's up? This is Jake.
I'm Jake from
Dude Nobody Cares.
I don't think I introduced myself like that.
Yeah. This is Jake VanWormer. He's on one of my favorite podcasts. If you guys have never checked out Dude Nobody Cares, it's Jake, Kevin, and Matt Campy. And Matt's going to be on another episode, but I wanted to have Jake on first because I know it'll make Matt really upset.
Yes, shout out. That's what I love this for that reason.
Yeah,
he's going to be not happy.
I'm going to record with him on Saturday, but then we put this episode out first and be like, hey, everybody, and he's not going to know that you're on.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
So Monday, when the episode comes out, I'm going to be like, hey, check out this episode of the Bill Squire Show with a member of Dude Nobody Cares podcast. And then he's going to go to try and find himself, and it's going to be you. And it's going to be fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious. Hey, I wanted to ask you if he knew I was coming.
No, I didn't tell him. No.
Okay.
Because I texted Kev last night. So last night was a little bit of a weird night for me because you heard about that giant Twitter hack.
Yeah.
So as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, I'll change my password. And when I changed my password, I guess because they're just being so secure right now, like they're trying to get everything back under control, they just locked me out of my account.
Yeah.
And then like I can't even like recover it or anything like that.
Damn.
And it's pretty annoying. And as is my dog. My dog's been a big problem on this podcast where she just won't shut the fuck up.
So cute though.
She's so cute. But my God,
it's always
annoying.
The cute ones that are annoying. Now, I just wanted to shout you out because you not only gave me my first opportunity on a show, a comedy show. This is my first guest appearance on a podcast. So
really? Well,
a lot of firsts here.
There you go, man. Well, I think you're a very funny dude. So
thank you.
I'm happy to have you on here.
Appreciate that.
You kill it on Do Nobody Cares, and then you also have your side podcast that's part of the Patreon for Do Nobody Cares, which is called what?
And That's Okay.
And That's
Okay.
Okay.
There's a brief pause.
And That's okay.
And That's Okay.
Also, the pause and And that's okay.
Which is funny. I hate the names of the podcast. I let Kevin think of the second one because the first one was "You Are Not Okay the Way You Are."
Yeah.
And then I go to "And That's Okay," and like it's just like opposing ideas. Doesn't really make sense, but
that's funny.
The whole podcast is about getting better, and that's what I'm trying to do.
So what are you trying to get better at?
Ranting, I guess, like being able to speak alone.
Well, that's kind of why I started this podcast, is just so that I could get more in the host seat.
Yeah.
Where I did Flicks and Bill for a while, and that was like a little too narrow. I wanted to do something a little more broad.
Yeah.
And then also have an opportunity to be more in the host seat rather than like the co-host or like the sidekick.
For sure.
I am on the Alan Cox show.
That's part of the reason. And I also like Matt Campy kind of steers the ship on Do Nobody Cares. So I wanted to be able to do my own thing. And
oh yeah. It's good to have that skill set because eventually Matt Campy's not going to do it anymore. We all know that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been trending downward ever since.
I mean, he works incredibly hard. He's got a life going on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love the dude a lot, but
no, I don't blame him for it at all. I mean, I don't understand what he's going through, but I know it's
tough stuff.
Something, yeah.
I think he really internalizes a lot because I don't think and I'm going to talk about this with him because I don't think he really knows how to, and I think a lot of people don't know how to handle crisis. Like when you're going through,
most people don't.
And especially so it's a real tough time for him because he's going through, I don't want to get too much into his personal business, but he's going through a breakup, a pretty significant breakup, and it started right before quarantine happened.
Yes.
So not on top of everything else, he's got a breakup with his baby mama.
Yeah, and he's got a new kid. He's a new dad.
He's a new dad, and that's just incredibly tough to go through.
Yeah, for sure. I don't blame him at all. It's just it gets frustrating, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold it against him.
We love you, Matt. We love you.
For sure.
You are the second member of the team to be on this podcast. Just remember that.
Yeah, second place.
Yeah. And I had Kev on Flicks and Bill already. I think it's just you guys have a fun podcast, and I know if you haven't checked it out, you got to check it out. But it's funny that you have people come up and tell you the things that they tell me all the time.
Yeah.
Like you were talking on an episode where you were at a 4th of July party and a guy's like, "Man, I can't listen to your podcast. I just don't like it." It's like, then just don't say anything.
Don't say anything. He didn't have to. And we weren't even talking about that. We were just talking, and he's like, "Oh, I can't even do your podcast, honestly." He's like, "I do it by listening, not come on," because he was never invited.
Right.
But he's just like, "I can't even make it 10 minutes into an episode anymore." I'm like, "Okay."
But he used to be able to? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
This fucking asshole. Just don't even
Right.
speak.
And it's like I don't go... Like, there's a lot of podcasts that I don't listen to. I don't make sure I go out of my way to be like, "Hey, I don't listen to your podcast," just so you know.
Just message people on Instagram like I don't even listen to your podcast.
Don't be offended, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that I don't listen to it.
That's like going to the restaurant and the waiter asks you what you want and you tell them what you don't want.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't want beans.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll tell you that right now.
You lead with that.
That's
funny.
Yeah, there's so many examples of that where you're just at Costco and they're like, "Do you want a free sample?" And you're like, "Well, I came for tires."
Yeah.
Like, what does that have to do with it?
Yeah,
like,
I know. You could still have
do
the
you want
sample.
one or not? Like,
yeah.
it's either So.
No, that'd be like you grab the sample. You're like, "Well, I'm here for tires," and they didn't even ask.
Yeah,
you just
like,
tell them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that word vomit that people have, and podcasting is very fun. You guys have been doing it for a while now. Is it 2 years?
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
I think we did hit 2 years.
I think you guys did hit.
I think
2 years.
we did because we took some. I was like, we haven't had done 104 episodes, but we have. I think
you have. You've definitely done because I think you're like 106 now.
Yeah, and we took some time off.
You took some time off, and you also did like double, like 99 episodes, like 99A, 99B.
Yeah,
because
true.
you were trying to keep from getting to 100.
And what was I gonna say? Oh, I was the reason I was upset with Matt about not doing them is because it was during a pandemic. It's the perfect time to
there's
grow.
nothing else to do. Yeah,
like I've never seen more people posting on like Twitter, like what are new podcasts to listen to? I'm running out of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I would say mine, but there's nothing new out.
There's nothing new, but you can still get them
Yeah,
started because like I went back. I started listening to you guys regularly after my last appearance. Not the one that I did this week, but the one back in like October. And then I listened to a whole bunch of episodes like back to like around this time last year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty well versed in the Dude Nobody Cares lexicon. And and like when people tell me they don't like if you drive around a lot, like if you have a long drive and you don't listen to like talk radio and like you just listen to like the same songs over and over again, like I get that, like it's kind of meditative, but I like podcasts because I just get so many other points of view.
Exactly. And you not only learn stuff, there's great informative ones, but you're gonna laugh your ass off. Like not necessarily at our podcast. I'm not saying
you guys
ours
have
is
some
that
very
funny,
funny moments.
but like there's so many out there that are hilarious. I don't get why you would not want to. And it makes the time go by quick when you're driving.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like my main thing. And that's why I got hooked on like talk radio and podcasts like when I was out touring the country doing comedy. Like because if you have an album on, you're just like you get used to it and you know how long it's been on, but you don't really lose yourself in it the way you do like a conversation, and then you feel like you know somebody. But part of people feeling like they know you is they feel like they can like joke with you. And I'm like, I have no, like a guy just did this on my Instagram the other day. He's like, he said like some shitty things, and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, it's a joke. I'm like, this is not coming across as a joke, man. It felt really mean spirited.
No, I don't know you.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I was gonna say. A lot of people that don't know us that do listen, they'll like message me like going along with something we joked about on the podcast, and I'm like, I don't think you get it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if like we were talking about that. It doesn't mean continue the conversation off podcast with a random stranger I don't know.
And again, like I want that interaction, but I think it's just like people have to figure out how to like. There's a good way of doing it and a bad way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line to walk because a lot of people they're just like, oh, they're kind of mean to somebody, so I'll be mean to that person too.
Yeah.
Or they're just
exactly.
or they'll just be like, I fucking hate you, and you're like, what? And I'm like, what? And they're like, no, it's a joke. I'm like, how's that a joke?
Yeah, it's not a joke.
What's the joke
That's just
there?
a mean thing to say.
Yeah.
It's just when they listen to you speak for hours at a time, they feel like they're part of your group.
Right, yeah.
And which I get it, but you're not.
So we don't have to just talk about podcasting.
No, yeah.
Because you kind of get into a lot, like you listen to a ton of podcasts, and
do.
then you like I feel like you're pretty well informed about what's going on with the zeitgeist of pop culture without being like definitively like one side or the other.
Yeah,
like you
I'd
kind
agree
of
with
see
that.
a lot of like the gray area on like bullshit that's out there, and like people wearing masks and stuff like I don't know. There's just so much going on
There
right
is a
now, and
lot.
it's fucking.
And I have an opinion on most of it, and
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong about a lot. I don't know what's right or wrong. I just
Right. Well, like when it comes to like the mask thing, it's such a simple thing to do that when people get shitty about it, they're like, I'm not wearing a mask. It's freedom, like my freedom, blah, blah, blah. Or like if you're wearing a mask, but it's not up to their standards. Like I had someone yell at me like, since when's a bandana okay? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
been from the start.
okay from the start. Like
They said it was.
it's a covering. Like
Yeah.
just cover your face a little bit. And then that on top of maintaining social distance, like if I'm in like a super crowded area, I'm not going to wear a bandana. But if I'm just like running in my building to get some mail, or like I was doing a show the other night and I had to like pull it up and down a bunch of times, I wanted something that was super easy to use, and like rather than having to put a full mask on every time I went on stage.
the cool thing about a bandana is you don't look like a fucking nerd when you're wearing a mask, which is what a lot of people are worried. Like that's what I feel like all these freedom people are worried about. They're just like, I look like a little bitch when I wear a mask.
Right,
So-
and the funniest thing is if you look at them, they have no style. Like they're wearing like the white New Balances,
Yeah, exactly.
and jean shorts. Not even like cut off jean shorts, like jean shorts with like the hammer handle,
the carpenter shorts.
Yeah, and then they
tall white socks.
and they have like a yellowed white T-shirt that has like some slogan on it.
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't want to look stupid.
Salt life.
Yeah, they're just trying to. They're like, I'll look stupid. I won't look like a tough guy. But
I don't
then
get it.
But then if there's like any sort of like uprising in their neighborhood, they'll just get all fucking decked out in tactical gear and be like, I gotta go protest. I'm like, well, you can wear a bulletproof vest to a rally in Denison, Ohio, but you can't.
Denison, Ohio.
You can't wear a mask. Like
Yeah, and I wear one 8 hours a day at work.
And
it's
that's-
not that bad.
You
It
get used to
sucks,
it,
but
yeah.
it's not that bad.
You get used to it,
You
and
can
like,
go-
and that's the thing. Like, if you're wearing like at work, like you probably have a better one than like you're not wearing a bandana at work.
No,
you're wearing
it's,
like
it's a nice mask.
a nice
but
mask, but like it's one of those things where it's just the people just want to be contrarian and they just don't care about people. Like, and I don't even really like people, but I'm like nice enough to them. Like I'll do little things. Like because I like when people do nice things to me, golden rule type shit. Like there's an old lady that likes to do laps in the pool downstairs, and when I see her coming, I'll go and I'll move the rope for her, so that she doesn't have to spend 25 minutes doing it because it takes her forever.
Yeah,
so I'll do it in 3 minutes, and it's much easier.
And what's wrong? Like, I don't get what's wrong with that.
And then she's happy, and then she's like, oh, and then she's nice to me, and I'm nice to her. Like it's being neighborly.
Yeah.
And that's what people are always talking about. They're like, oh, the world's going to hell because people don't treat each other right. And then you're like, but I'm not wearing a mask to help someone.
Yeah, to help possibly one. Like, it's so stupid. So you'll hear people say, well, this is America. We're a country of rebels. Yeah, sort of. We were rebelling against a monarchy that wouldn't let us have representation in their government, but they were still taxing us. No taxation without
Well, and then there's also, if you get deeper into it, and I just learned about this, where there's the treaty that the Britain had with the Indians, and America didn't, like the Americans didn't want to honor that because they wanted to expand the colonies.
Yeah.
And so that was another pretty big part of the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, they're rebels, but they're also assholes.
Yeah, true. And like I get that part, like we're a country of people who don't like to follow the rules, but this is a very simple, we're not getting not represented and paying taxes. They're asking you to wear a mask. It's not like that serious compared to what used to happen.
George Washington and Alexander Hamilton wouldn't find out that you didn't wear a mask and be like, whoa, you're same level.
Yeah, we're on the same level.
We're on the same
exactly,
level.
exactly.
We're
revolutionaries, dude.
Crossed the Delaware to fight the Redcoats, and you endangered your grandma's life.
Yes, and went into Walmart without a mask.
It is awesome to see, though, and like it sucks that people die, but when you see those stories like play themselves out on Facebook, like the guy that was like he went to Put-in Bay, and it's sad. Again, I'm not saying it's when I say it's awesome.
Died,
I'm just saying like it's
awesome irony.
It's irony. Yes, the irony is just amazing.
No,
where he goes like, I ain't wearing a mask, and then he's at Put-in Bay. He's like, not that crowded here. Like, oh, this COVID shit sucks.
Yeah.
And obituary.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
Yep, that happened quick.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you're a conspiracy theorist like me and you don't want to take it seriously, you might as well. It's kind of like God. Like you might as well kind of live a good life
bets.
in case God's real. You
right.
know?
Like I don't believe in God, but I'm still a pretty good person, I think.
It's a great way to live your life still. Just in case there's a heaven, you might go if you know.
So you are pretty into conspiracies, and Ghislaine Maxwell, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Yeah. She just got arrested a few weeks ago, and now everyone's expecting her to be suicided pretty soon.
Yeah. I did an over/under on my podcast.
Yeah. When what was that?
It was about 2 weeks or 2 weeks from Friday. So I said 32 and a half days. I just came up with a number.
So I did the
over.
You're gonna take it like early August.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if it happens, probably around that, or nothing will happen.
Yeah.
But I got excited today. I thought I'd have some content to bring. I saw an article. It said Redskins owner Dan Snyder getting arrested for human trafficking, being involved.
Oh, really?
I looked into it. It's some bullshit. It's like what somebody said on Reddit that he is has sexually harassed cheerleaders or something. So it's not even like confirmed. I was so excited though. I was like, she's naming people. I really thought she was in there naming people. But
no.
It's got to come. It come at the time they're changing their name. So I think someone just
someone just
started a fake article.
That's funny that like people will run with that on the news now. Like
I know,
like a real. I'm sure it was like a real news organization that posted that.
Yeah, it was a real like online site. I don't remember what they were called.
And they're just like, according to sources on Reddit.
Yeah,
it's like that's
exactly what it said. Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like you can't trust that stuff.
Well, like a lot of my friends know I'm into heavily into this stuff, so they send me all the shit, and I'm like, you guys need to look into some shit. You can't just. If it's from a thing you've heard of, it might be true. But if you never heard of it, it's probably not true.
Well, and that's like what my dad always does. Like he will share all these articles on Facebook, and I ended up blocking him because it's just ridiculous. But like the websites are like obvious, like pretend websites where it's like Fox NN. Like
I've had to teach my dad that. Like it says the website down at the bottom. Like look at that.
Look at the website. Like if it's a combination of Fox News, CNN. MSNBC, all these things just like mashed together, not a real website.
And they'll like change like one letter so it looks like it, and it's not. So you got to watch out for that.
Yeah, Fox News channel, but there's only like one N in channel or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's always some creepy crap like that getting shared around, and then they just see it because confirmation bias is running rampant in this country right now, where people are just like, all right, this is what I want to believe. Who can back this up? And they'll go and they'll find that science or that expert in quotations.
And I've been guilty of that 100%. Honestly, it was a lot of Rogan that helped me look past that. He taught me like when you want to believe something, you will. So if you want aliens to be real and then you'll see some like, which I 100% believe it. I think it's impossible that they're not real, but
I think it's totally like I definitely think aliens are real. I just don't know what evidence we have. Like I saw the UFO stuff that the Air Force released, I think. And so like I see that, I go, okay, that's something. Like
it is something.
I don't understand what is going on there. They don't understand what's going on there. But are people getting like abducted and all that shit? I don't know about that.
The abductions, I just have a hard time believing. It's usually some crazy ass person. That's why.
Yeah.
But when you got a guy like Bob Lazar, have you heard his story?
No.
He claims he worked at Area 51. I always want to call it 57. It was a skate park in like Lorraine, but
Area 57.
Yeah,
Heinz
he worked
57.
at Area 51. And he said he claims in the 80s his job was to reverse engineer a UFO.
Okay.
Like they had
Oh
one.
yeah, I have heard of him.
So he's got some crazy stories. He's very articulate. He knows
Yeah.
what he's talking about, and he seems really smart. That's why it's so weird. Like he doesn't seem like a crazy person at all.
Now, do you think that there's a chance that whatever they had was some other technology, and then he just like from like another
country,
another country,
Yeah.
and they're trying to reverse engineer it, and they're just telling him, and so he's like, I'll just make this alien so that I can sell some books.
Yeah, for sure. Because he claims he saw another wing of the department he was in with like little compartments for like little men, like tiny creatures could fit in it. So that's
Like-
kind of where the alien thing comes in.
Right, and then like what if it's little creatures? Then it's probably animals that they're testing things.
Yeah, I mean,
on.
who knows? Yeah.
That's what I think of. Like if I see it, like I don't necessarily think that aliens are going to be small. I don't know.
They could be. You never know.
But they could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's just one of those things where like it doesn't satisfy me because I don't get real answers. It's just a
Exactly.
lot of
And you
speculation,
never do.
and so I don't get deep into it.
yeah, I think if you look at the military, everyone's on a need to know basis, and I feel like it'd be the same in like Area 51.
Oh, yeah,
they're just
for
like
sure.
you're very compartmentalized.
Yeah, you're
just
like, this is your job.
yes,
Figure out how
just-
this works.
That's all you're doing,
and that's all you're doing.
But the way he could explain how it works was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's an engineer.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, like
yeah.
he could explain how this table's holding up these microphones,
Yeah.
and make it sound way
alien technology.
like alien technology because he's got that kind of knowledge.
For sure. That's the thing. But the other weird thing is he owns a fireworks business. Like they make fireworks. And he's been raided by the FBI like so many times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's weird. Like they just raid his regular old business. So I don't know.
There's other things going on there too. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be because he's claiming these things, and they're like, "Hey, stop!
Yeah.
Hey, man, we need to arrest this guy because he's saying crazy shit."
Just saying crazy shit and like getting people fired up, and it's that's the world we live in. Talking a little bit more about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Who are the people like? If you don't know anything about this, like I never watched the documentary. I know a little bit from my buddy.
I'll say don't watch the documentary.
Ryan DePerna like knows a lot. He was telling me about this like 3 years ago on the podcast that we used to do, the Fantasy Boys. And he's like, dude, they got these jets and like they're private jets that they go on and have like underage girls and they go to this island and just like have these fuck parties. And it was all these super famous, super powerful people. And he's like, I can't believe people aren't talking about it, but like it did actually end up coming out.
It happens, and I don't think it's that a lot of elite people are pedophiles. That's not the case.
You don't
I
think so?
think, for example, I think they go to Bill Clinton, invite him to come to my island. We're gonna party. Bill Clinton's like, yeah, of course. He goes. They're on the plane. They're having some drinks, and he's like, hey, meet Tanya. And this girl comes over and like sits with him, and she's 17.
Right.
And that's about the age it's hard to tell, you know. And Bill Clinton's already drinking. He's like, hey, yeah,
whatever.
So he has sex with her. Jeffrey Epstein comes up, hey, I know you had sex with that underage girl now. Now you have to make policies based on what my organization wants.
Yeah, that honestly sounds very, very like that could definitely be what it is.
And that's what makes the conspiracy make
Feasible.
sense to me.
That's what I was looking for.
They compromise politicians and powerful people to make them do what they want. So a lot of people think him and Ghislaine work for the Mossad, which is like the Israel CIA.
Yeah.
So that's the theory right now.
It makes me happy that I don't really get invited to parties.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they're gonna
like, and if I do get invited to a party, it's not like that kind of stuff. Like
a freak show.
I get so uncomfortable around like powerful people. Like I don't feel like I need like they're just a different type of person than I am when I'm like around. Like I've met some famous people and stuff like that, and they're just weird.
Yeah, they're different.
And it's probably just my perception of them more than anything. But there's definitely some that are very weird.
Yeah, and
like they just throw
you hear
fits
about
all
it
the time and shit like that, and you're just like this, like, and you realize a lot of people that got to that place, like they're incredibly talented. I'm not taking away their talent
for sure,
but the way that they access that talent is by being kind of on edge all the time.
Exactly, and usually anybody who makes it to a high level of anything is a psychopath. They're pretty.
Well, you have to be so driven, like
yeah.
Like I have so many incredibly funny friends that are living in like LA and New York, but they don't get to the highest level because they don't have the drive to just be like to just step on people and push their way to the front and just be like, hey, me constantly. Which I'm not saying that's everyone that's successful is that way, but I'm saying there's definitely people that whenever you see someone, you're like, how did they get that? That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they just kept
Killer
pushing.
instinct.
Yeah, they would just push. Whereas there's other people that just like have incredible talent and they get it through that.
Talent will only get you so far.
Right.
There's so many talent. A lot of people have a talent and they'll never
But
do
I'm saying
anything
like
with it.
if you have that talent and then you have like a drive and then you have like some luck, you'll get there.
You
but like
definitely need luck too.
But then you have a guy like, the top talents like Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy. Those people are going to stand out no matter where they are.
Yeah.
Like they're not.
But
they're
they
like
also
once in a
have the
lifetime.
drive. Like a guy like Chappelle had the drive.
Right.
You don't hear stories of him being like 19 doing stand up in like a park.
Yeah.
Just like shows up and does it, and then people end up joining. Like
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I would never do. That I would never like take that upon myself.
Right.
I don't have that in me, or maybe I do, and I just haven't. I don't know, but
it's having like a level of. It's a fine line between confidence and narcissism, and it's really difficult. And I feel like I used to have more of the narcissism, and it like filled the gap on the confidence that I lacked.
Yeah.
But it felt like confidence, and so I would go and do anything back in the day. And now I've gotten to a point where like I can say no a little bit more, and I don't have to do anything. And like, but I also felt like indestructible when I had that kind of. But I was also a lot crazier of a person then.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as well rounded as I am now. But like back then, like when I was probably like 7 or 8 years into stand-up comedy, I felt like I was one of the best comics that nobody had ever seen. Because like I could go into any room, and fucking crush.
Yeah, and make people laugh.
Yeah, and like not just make people laugh, but like make people
like
forget who the other comics were.
Yeah,
and I don't, I'm not as practiced in stand up anymore because that was when I was on the road every fucking week.
Yeah,
and
seeing all types of different crowds too.
Yeah,
has to help.
So I could do that, but now I'm more of a just like I'm still very confident in my stand up comedy, but I just don't have the reps in to feel like I can just go up there and be like the best comic of the night.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it helps to be ignorant about it, like to be just like, hey, I think I'm the best because I don't know any better.
Absolutely, it does. Like to just kind of have that,
like that little kid no fear because you haven't been burned yet,
right?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, I still like I've always wanted to be a stand-up comedian ever since I saw like George Carlin. I didn't understand his jokes. I remember I didn't like laugh, but I was like, wait, this dude's just standing up here and everyone is laughing and like paying attention to him. I was like, that's the job I want.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
right?
and I remember specifically like not laughing. I was like, I don't get why they're laughing, but I think it's pretty crazy that he's doing that. But I've just never felt like I fit in. Like I've just always felt out of place in the comedy, at least around here. I don't know. It's just in my head. I know.
I think it's just
because everyone's very welcoming around.
Yeah, and
in this area.
I think if you just get everybody kind of finds their clique or their group to run with.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is I try to make it as accommodating for everybody. Like I'm not I don't think of myself as a gatekeeper. I'm more like a everybody's kind of big brother.
Yeah.
In the scene where I
get that vibe for
everybody to be able to go up, have good sets. If they have bad sets, I'm not gonna hold them against them.
Yeah.
I just want people to be able to have opportunities to get on stage to get better, so that when they're going to a place like Hilarities or they start doing the road and stuff like that, they have some chops based on performing at my shows.
Oh yes, and I respect that because it's good for comedy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. And then people are like, why do you care so much about it? I'm like, because I need them, honestly. I need a scene.
Yeah.
I can't go up and do, when I was running 2 shows a week, I can't go up and do 90 minutes at a show each week and expect people to show up every week. I need people that are up there funny and confident that are going to keep an audience coming back, because it can't just be on me.
Yeah, and it's got to drive you to see somebody that you kind of gave a shot to.
Oh, for
and then
sure.
they're like getting really good at it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So you are also a single boy?
I'm a single boy.
How's dating in the time of COVID?
Oh, it's strange. It's different. I noticed Tinder was more popping. A lot of prettier girls on there that I've been matching with, but they're not very eager to meet up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
but you get
pen
kind
pals.
Like pen pals, are they sending pictures, or are they like, join my OnlyFans?
I've gotten a few. There was one that I was like, I got a little too far with, and I was like, wait, this is probably fake.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, before I gave her money, I was like, hold on. Because I like that kind of stuff.
I feel like it's we're past the golden age of nudes.
Yeah.
I feel like, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older too, and I'm not going for them. But I feel like 2015 and 16, and again, that might also be just because I was just single for the first time in a while in those years. But I feel like they were getting, like, Snapchat was just getting going. Or, it was pretty established, so people would be like, here, see some tits, here's some tits, here's some, like, girls would just send, like, a mass message to be like, yeah, I'm hot today.
Yeah, I'm hot, yeah. And I don't know, I don't think nudes have went down, but I think Venmo kind of ruined it, because now they expect something.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mind paying for stuff, but, like, if it's a different situation. Like, if a girl, you got to go in telling me, like, hey, if I'm going to send you nudes, you got to pay for them. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you send me a nude and be like,
all right, my Venmo's this. Yeah. No, I don't like that. But I don't know. All girls are different though with that. Like, you'll meet some on there that are like, you talk for 10 minutes and then somehow it gets sexual right away.
Yeah.
And then they're willing to send nudes. Other times I've had it where
you're talking about books and shit.
Yeah. And you talk for like a week about, movies or science fiction, whatever. And it never goes that direction. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, they like bring it up because a lot of women, I've learned this term, it's called demisexual. You're basically sexually attracted to getting to know the person.
Oh.
It's not like their physical appearance, it's more them, like how they are. So I've noticed, I think a lot of girls are like that.
And that's why it's good to have that game and that patience.
Exactly.
Because, like, being able to, like, if you're just going on there thirsty and trying to get nudes or sexual right away, you're going to turn a lot of girls off. But if you're willing to, like, get to know them, and then you also learn all these different things, and you see, like, okay, there's trends with certain types of girls. There's things that they like, they don't like, and you treat them like a human.
It's very important.
It's a very important thing, and then they appreciate that.
Yes.
So guys, treat women like they're humans and see where it gets you.
That's what I've learned is creepy is
humans
relative.
You like.
Creepy is relative. If you're a really good looking guy, you could maybe get away with being very forward about what like your sexual ambitions with that person. If you're not some model looking guy with a six pack, you're probably going to want to use your personality to get laid. Like you gotta strategize.
Well, and that's take a guy like Chris D'Elia, who probably used to have to be, because he's
ugly as fuck. He looks like
he's
ugly
a weird
Jesus.
looking dude, but because
like
of his
Jesus.
but because of his status, he got to a point where he was just like really straightforward with people. And he wasn't fucking around. He's like, "Hey, let me see those tits."
Yes.
And you hear some pictures and stuff like that.
Quite the ladies' man.
Yeah, he's quite the ladies' man,
and the girls' man too, little girls' man. No.
And he starts getting a reputation instead of actually like having that, get to know you phase. But that get to know you phase can also be like a double-edged sword because,
for sure.
Because they're like, oh, I thought we had something. You're like, oh no, I just
want to have sex with you, and you wouldn't have done it if you didn't get to know me.
Right.
No, that's for sure. You have to, like, I have a friend who's a real piece of shit like that, and I tell him, like, I know you don't feel bad right now. It's gonna catch up to you.
Right.
Because I spent a long part of my younger age in a relationship. I had a girlfriend for 6 years.
Yeah.
And that was when Tinder came out during that and all that. And I was like, fuck, I'm missing out on everything. So I broke up with her, and I was kind of a piece of shit. I didn't break up with her to go have sex with people, but to just live my life more. I was just too young to be locked down, I felt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So then I go around and start fucking around, and then I just feel horrible about myself because
it's really
a lot
empty.
of these girls, it's empty, and a lot of these girls
empty.
expect more out of you.
Yeah.
And although I didn't tell them, like, I want you to be my girlfriend, or I'm working towards that, they kind of pick up on it because I'm being nice and doing boyfriend things.
Well,
so.
and that's the thing too, is like I would get into like a situation because I would be going out with girls, and that's kind of who I am. Like, I'm a nice guy when, like, if I'm dating you.
Yeah.
And so
sure.
they wasn't like the piece of shit guy, but then I'd also have like 3 girls that I'd be kind of seeing at the same time because I wasn't in like a serious relationship. And then you start to like rank them because you're like, well, I like this thing about this one, and then this one about this one. And so then you're like, well, I kind of want to keep them all around. And then you just go, okay, what am I doing here? This feels like shit. Because
exactly.
I'm like, and
you're hurting other people.
You're hurting other people, and you're also like trying to like save up nuts for them too. Like,
true.
Like, all right, I can't.
See, I've never really been. I don't know. I've talked to a lot of girls at once, but I've never been like sleeping with multiple girls at once. Which
it was a little more spread out than it may sound.
Yeah.
But it'd be like there definitely was situations where like I was like seeing two girls at once,
Yeah.
like a love triangle kind of thing.
Which sounds great on paper, but stressful, anxiety.
It's
like
stressful, and it just like you said, it makes you feel like a bad person. And
For sure.
I didn't like that at all. So
that's what my friend I was telling you about. He met this girl, I don't know, on Tinder or something. They talked for a little bit. He was acting like, good guy. Then he had sex with her, and he's like, oh, I haven't talked to her since. And I'm like, you might not feel bad right now, but she's going to text you at some point and say like, what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to feel like shit. I guarantee it. And you can't keep going around doing this. You don't realize the things you're doing to yourself in the moment. You don't it's like building up in your head. Like, next thing you know, you have depression because
and I feel like I only had like one girl that I actually went out with like one time, and that was it. Where it was like we went out, we had a nice night, we banged, and then both of us were just like, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's what you got to do. You need to talk about it.
Yeah,
like
you need
to communicate.
We're both kind of like neither of us really kept it going. Like, I still text her the next day, and like we were like, okay,
it's fine. We're good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah,
we did
which is, I think you have to do that. There was one girl that I hooked up with once, and we agreed she was going through some shit with her ex, so she was just like, I'm kind of trying to have fun. So then we had sex, and we were really drunk. I woke up the next day. She was already gone. I was hungover. I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So I didn't text her. And then a week later, she texted me that I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world because we had sex and I didn't talk to her, and now her confidence is shot. And that's when it hit me. I was like, you're right. That makes sense.
But at least you had that awareness that it was you didn't get indignant and where you're like, well, fuck
you, bitch.
You,
hell no. I always, this is my lack of confidence. I always think I'm the problem. That's a problem in my life. I'm just like, there's no way it's her. So she was like, you just ruined my self-confidence.
A lot of times when it comes to women, you're probably right.
Yeah. I actually just went on a great Tinder date last night. She's probably going to listen to this because
I feel like this is a good time to go on Tinder dates because I feel like this is the cheapest time to go on dates because a lot of dates are just like, let's go to the park. Yeah. Well, we went to a bar. Nobody was there. It was nice. So we sat there and talked for 3 hours, which is, that's cool. That's crazy. Usually Tinder date's an hour, and I'm like, that's good. See ya, or they're like, see ya. Man, and if you ever do a Tinder date when there's no alcohol, to loosen you up, and you're just I did a cup of coffee ones, and they were fine. We talked a lot, but it's still it's I don't know, it's a lot more tense than having the alcohol. Mary, she's kind of got a guy now, but she was dating while sober, and I'm just like, man, I know. That had how to be fucking tough. I don't even know how you do that because I got there early just so I could get one down before she got there, and I recommend that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. No, as long as you're not and as long as you're not getting blackout drunk. No, don't get hammered because just get a little buzz going. You just because I get flirty. I do get nervous, especially with a super pretty girl. You're gonna be nervous, so it doesn't hurt. No, let's take some steroids before the date. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I only do about a half an hour with each guest because I try to do segments. Cool with me. Thanks for coming on. Follow Jake on Twitter. You can't follow me on Twitter. Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I just can't see it right now. Not right now. At Bill Squire. Jake is at VanWormer. VanWormer Jake. It's VanWormer JAKE. And is that the same on Instagram? Yes, same on Instagram. And then Real DNC Podcast. That's Dude Nobody Cares Podcast. You can get on Apple or wherever you get podcasts. And it's great. I love it. Thanks, Bill. Really appreciate that. I am your host, Bill Squire, and I am here again with Nicole Merlino. Hey. And she was Instagram hottie a couple weeks ago, and she is back to just chat and just hang out. I am back by popular demand. There was some good feedback on Nikki, and people were, they're digging her. So they're like, hey, bring her back. Let's talk with her some more. And that's what we're gonna do today. And you're rocking an Indians shirt. I am. What do you think of the name change and everything? The name change. The name. They're gonna end up changing the name. That's basically what it comes down to. Do we know to what? Not yet. But they're throwing out a bunch of things. And I was actually talking today with a lady, and she sent me a petition. She's like, I think we should change. They shouldn't change the name. And I go, oh, I'm all for the name change. It's long overdue. I absolutely love the Indians, but I also understand that it's inevitable that they're going to change the name of the team. Right. So let's just do it. And I understand the reasons, and I'm on board with it. I understand it because, first of all, it's like naming your team a mistake.
Right.
Like it's like naming your team a typo. Like,
should
it's
we
weird.
name them Mistake on the Lake?
There's so many good names you can go with too, and like that gets me excited about the name change. So
Right.
I don't know if you fall in the like keep the name camp or not.
No, I don't.
No,
Don't.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those people where like I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be picketing like, oh, we should change it, but I'm also not going to be like picketing like, oh, we can't change it. Like,
Well, like the lady that I was going back and forth with, like she's a nice lady, and we've like I've done some things with her, and she's like a really sweet lady, but she also didn't understand why I was so adamant about it being changed, because like the biggest thing is like they're Native Americans, they're not Indians, and we're characterizing them as such,
Right.
and then turning them into the stereotype, which is like the cowboys versus Indian stereotype, where they're savages trying to kill us, and it's very degrading to them.
Right.
And so I understand that whole thing. And I was talking about all the things that they've been through, and she's like, "Well, it's a melting pot." I'm like, "Yeah, but we stole their pot. Like that's
we took the pot.
we took the pot, and then we killed all of them,
Right.
and that's why it's got to change, because
More like a murder pot.
yeah, exactly." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You never heard of the Trail of Tears?" She's like, "Well, if that's true, then I guess I should look into it." I'm like,
that's
I'm like,
true.
"You gotta." So you don't know anything about what's going on. Like that's it. And it was just one of those things where she's like, I know some Native Americans. And I'm like, no, you probably know someone that says they're Native American.
Right.
It's like, I'm not offended by it. But like, I've been on, like, I've done gigs on reservations and stuff like that. And they're not angry about it, but they're disheartened by it. Like they don't
Right.
like it.
Right.
Because that's not who they are. And they know what it means. Whoopsie doodle. You got to calm down. She wants to weigh in. Whoopsie, what do you think about a name change for the Cleveland Indians? And now she's got nothing.
And she's got
She's
nothing.
on
She
the
got
spot.
camera shy.
Yeah,
right.
she's on the spot.
Right. Yeah.
Whoa.
There she goes. There she goes. Yeah, no, I'm on board if they want to change the name. I'm like not a diehard like baseball person, if that makes sense. I just like repping like Cleveland sports. I
Right.
enjoy going to an Indians game. So I'm not usually up to date, but
I love Cleveland sports. I love baseball, but I also understand like things evolve.
Right.
And it's okay for that. And I'm actually excited about some new, like a new name. Like if it's the Spiders, I'm cool with that. If it's the
I
like
hate spiders.
You hate the spiders? Well, do you hate spiders or you hate the name spiders?
I hate spiders. So probably not my first choice of a name, but
Yeah, but I like the Blue Sox. I've heard the Blues. My idea was the Cleveland Beat. I like that. I know that's gonna like have connotations like, oh, we beat Cleveland beat, like that kind of thing. But like singular, not the Beats, but the Cleveland Beat. And I think that's a nice nod to the Rock Hall. And you can still have John Adams out there beating the drum.
right,
So
right,
I think there's a lot of cool directions they could go with it, and that gets me excited.
right. Whoopsie's excited too.
Yeah, Whoopsie's all excited about all those different names. She likes change. She's such a brat.
Aw. She just wants to be part of the action.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If I let her out, then she's going to be part of the action, and it's never good.
Right, right.
Yeah, so it's either we hear her barking in the background, or she ends up derailing us all show. So last time you were here, we had some nice chats, and then I was like, okay, well, I want you to come back a few times and kind of become like a regular on the show. Basically, I'm
Yeah.
trying to build like a cast of regulars, and so far I got my buddy John Bruton, I got Marty, I got AJ DeCosimo, and you're the first, and my girlfriend, and then you.
Right.
So you're like the second woman, I guess, to be in the mix.
Hey,
Repeatedly.
I'm honored.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing good stuff. And
Thanks.
And I was like, all right, well, the best part of this is you are trying to develop your own, brand and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm going to make you do some of the work
Right.
and come up with some topics.
Right. You did. You put me to work, and I sat down and I brainstormed some things.
Yeah.
Some of them probably bad, but
I think some of them are very good. I mean, but that's the thing. You throw it all out there and you
Right.
see what you come up with. And one thing that you thought we should talk about, and it makes sense, is Hamilton just came on Disney Plus, and you're all about it.
I'm all about Hamilton.
Okay.
I'm a Hamilton fan.
I'm coming around on Hamilton.
Okay.
So I've been watching it. I still haven't finished it because it's
Long.
fucking long. All right, I gotta go. It's fucking long. I can't even leave the fucking out because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and that's a long time for like if there's dialogue.
Imagine
and
being
stuff
there
like
in
that.
person.
I know, and that's kind of the thing that I've noticed is like, you know, you're so used to watching movies and these like really produced productions, and this is obviously very produced, but it's a live production.
Right.
So as they're performing this whole time, they are getting sweaty, and I appreciate that.
Spit flying.
Yeah, spit flying, just out there, not COVID safe. Like it is very, very
more than 6 feet.
yeah,
please.
yeah. But they're out there doing work. But the biggest trouble that I'm having with it is, first of all, I don't know history as well as I thought I did. I thought I knew some stuff. So like
He
learning
took me to school.
Yeah, he's teaching me things, but there's also so much happening that I'm like, what was this? What was this? What was this? Okay, I don't know about this.
You really gotta
I remember it like vaguely, but I don't exactly know the timeline or
Right.
enough like that. I'm trying to keep track of all the characters. It's a lot to take in. And then on top of that, there's no spoken dialogue. It's all either rapped or sang.
Right.
And I have a hard time processing all the words. There's so
Right.
many lyrics, and it's like it's one thing to take a situation like, you know, Wicked or something like that, where that's a lot of singing and stuff like that, but they're like very deliberate, long, like slow songs. Almost.
Right. It's not like rapid fire rap.
Yeah, but like rapping. A rapping musical is so many words.
Right.
So for Lin-Manuel Miranda to have written all this and then tied it all together and then make it good is just it. Yes, exactly. It blows my mind to be like, okay, you made a 2 hour and 40-minute musical about American history, and then you also made it good, and like it's
and
really
fun.
catchy and fun, and
Right.
like there's a nice through line through it, and I really appreciate all the work that goes into it. But my attention span is like seeing it live would have been way better for me because you
Right.
just kind of have to dial in. But
Oh,
like
I was
watching
locked in.
Yeah, like you got locked in. I can't. I have a hard time.
I was
locking
locked
at
in.
home.
When we
I also
saw
have a
it-
dog that's on my butt all the time.
We saw it when they came in. What was that? 2018.
Okay, so you saw it.
I saw it in live.
So you saw it live.
Yes.
See, I think that's the way to do it is to see it live,
But
and then
I went in having no preconceived conception,
Yeah.
notions, like anything. Me and my roommate went, and I was like, let's not listen to the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not look up anything about it. Let's just like go in there. And I remember like after the first maybe like 3 songs, I just looked at her and I was like,
do you know what's happening?
fast. No, I was literally like, fasten your seatbelt because this is insane.
Yeah.
It didn't feel that long. Like honestly, it felt quick.
And that's the thing. I think that's the situation that you get into with live versus watching it on television is like you're a little bit more aware of the length of it.
Right.
Whereas like the live, the energy, the emotion that you're feeling
Right.
draws you in more. And they did a great job with the cinematography and everything like that. But it's still, you know, when you're on your couch, there's always more distractions.
Right.
And so if I could see this, like I definitely want to see it in the actual theater someday. But I wish I had seen it like first in theaters.
Right.
Or like in a theater.
Right. I agree. It was incredible though. And of course it wasn't all the original cast. Like they had someone else playing Hamilton.
Yeah, you had like the touring company probably. You see it in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at Playhouse. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I was shocked because again, I didn't know it was a full-on musical. I didn't know that there was no spoken parts.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah.
But I love hip hop, so as soon as they incorporated some of that in,
You're
they were
all for it.
rapping.
Yeah.
I think I made the comment because they rap the part where they're like deliberating in Congress, and I was like, literally, if we could just do that today, America would be 10 times better. Like if we could actually
You have to have a flow. You have
right?
to,
If we could actually have like Congress hearings that sound like this, it would be worth.
Right, where they're not just trying to like filibuster or like well, and that's
Right.
what it goes back to too. And like this is like my like I'm not really a pot smoker, but it's like my pot smoker thought while I'm watching this is like, oh, hold on, Whoopsie, I'm making a big one. Big point here.
Whoopsie is in the building.
Yep.
And she's out.
All right. So here's let me get back to this. The big moment that I was like the big like high thought moment where it's like it's painfully obvious to everyone, but you're like, oh, that's pretty clever in a little bit of a way. But you go, you know, anytime you're talking with somebody and they're like talking about someone that I don't know because of the immigration thing that is such a big deal to a lot of people in America, you go, well, none of the forefathers of this country were born American. which is so stupid, but I don't know.
It's so
I
true.
thought
Though.
it was fun. It's true, and it is,
Right.
but it's like dumb funny. I don't know.
That was like the moment where they were like, immigrants, we get the job done.
Yeah.
And it was like really just such a punch in the face to everyone who's like, oh, immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I loved it how the cast was diverse too.
Oh,
he
very.
made sure there was people of color in there and women, even though they wouldn't have, obviously been in those roles in real time back then. But I thought that was really important and cool that he did that too.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. I'm trying to get through it, but like I said, it's a little overwhelming, especially not seeing it live in a theater versus like watching
it was
at home.
still overwhelming. Like listening to the song still like now, I'm like, oh, I didn't hear that before. Oh, I didn't catch that line before.
I was just talking with somebody on Instagram about how much goes into it, and like I'm like, this is a couple times I'm gonna have to watch this to really process everything that's going on. Like I feel like I'm gonna watch it and then I'm gonna read a bunch of shit and then go back to it and see if I can know a little bit better what's going on.
Yeah, literally the next day we were
better.
like Googling like Schuyler sisters, Philip, like
all this
just
stuff.
Googling
There's so much
everybody.
stuff. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna be like Alexander Hamilton. Tell me more about him.
Right.
Because like there's a lot there, and it's really like if you had asked me before this, like what was his role, and like I'm like I don't know. He got shot. I knew that.
She says
All
hi.
right, come on up. You got your cone of shame.
Cone of shame.
Just needs attention.
Always.
Because she's don't chew on that.
Yeah, but it's just such a masterpiece. And I said in my podcast last week when I talked about it that I definitely think it'll be easily in top 5, top 10 of all-time Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be.
Yeah. Now, going to your podcast real quick called Little Talks with Big Nicky, what the name of this episode is I'm a grandma voice?
I said I sound like a grandma.
I sound like a grandma. And why do you sound like a grandma? Just to kind of tease your podcast and maybe get some people to check it out.
Yeah, check out last week's episode. I called it, I was going back and forth. This one for me was so hard to name. Usually I get a name like right away.
Yeah.
And I usually have the name, like the title before I have what I'm actually going to say.
Right.
But this time it was like the opposite. And I just was talking and I was like, I realized listening back to it how many times I just sounded like an old person, where I just was like, they don't make things like they used to anymore. Do you remember back in the day when we didn't have
All right, what
iPhones?
are some examples of these things that we like? Okay.
I was talking about cartoons.
Okay.
I was talking about
what cartoons specifically? Because I love cartoons.
I used to watch the original like Scooby-Doo's, Tom and Jerry's.
Okay.
The Justice League was what I was really talking about. I feel like I talk about the Justice League and nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Love the Justice League.
I love the Justice League.
Like the Justice League that like this is probably on in like 90, I want to say like 97 to like 2001 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's such a good series.
They had like the whole crew.
Yeah, they had everybody. And everybody had their different stories.
Yeah.
And like each week you weren't getting the same heroes every
Right.
But like I love the Justice League.
Right. I love it, but I feel like I talk about it and I can't find it anywhere. Like I've been able to scrounge up some of the old Scooby-Doos and Tom and Jerry's, but I can't find the Justice League.
Justice League was on Netflix for a while, so I binged it all while it was on Netflix, but that was like 5 years ago. So I'm not sure where it would be now, but if it's anywhere, it's probably now on HBO Max because they own Warner Brothers and they're like hoarding all their content. So my guess is that it would be on HBO Max.
Right. Yeah, the Justice League. But anyway, so I was talking about like
Who's your favorite member of the Justice League?
I feel like Wonder Woman's like too much of like a
You can be
blasé answer, but
you can be obvious.
honestly, the Wonder Twins are not talked about enough.
All right.
They're just they don't have a movie like of their own. Like I feel like they're just
They're
like
not
the
even, like, putting
underrated.
anything. Yeah, they're not even like in like a
Like nobody
CW
even knows
show
they
or anything.
exist. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Love them.
Justice League, I would say, I mean, as far as DC goes, I love Batman a lot, but on that series, I really love The Flash.
Oh, the Flash.
Flash is so good on that series.
Do you watch the Flash on
No,
okay.
I watched like an episode or two, but I never got into it. But I feel like that's something I'm going to binge eventually.
Right. I haven't. I'm very far behind. But that in the Arrow the writers are like the same.
The same. Okay.
It's insane.
So I started watching Arrow, and then I bailed like 3 episodes in because there's an episode where he goes into a prison and he's dressed up like a prison guard to try and like sneak around in there, but he's still wearing his mask. And I'm like, no one's going to think that you're a prison guard if you're wearing a mask.
I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's so silly. Like they got like it was so stupid.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Honestly though, if you stuck it out, the plot of that show, it's never boring. Mm-hmm. It's always a surprise. You never know what's going to happen next. And then when they do the crossover events,
yeah, I heard those are real fun.
I'm like, wow, yeah.
And they like tied in with like Supergirl and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, they do. Supergirl came a little later, so yeah.
So whoopsie. What are you doing? You're such a jerk.
She's talking back.
She is. I know. She's very sassy.
She is sassy.
I was hoping that once I got your vagina out, you wouldn't be so sassy. Hey, get out of there. What are you doing?
Once they removed your lady parts.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to talk. That's like a bit that I do about how, oh, God damn, everything's coming down because of you. Oh, that's a good
the whole set's just falling apart.
No, you can have that. 'Cause I don't use that.
Well, I guess that just proves that, if we remove our vaginas, we're not going to be any less sassy.
Right. All right, but I got to stop her from destroying that box because those are. I need those in case I sell them.
Whoopsie. Goodness gracious.
All right. I wish I had a better chew toy for you. How'd you get this?
Oh, hey. She stole it out of my purse.
She's such a jerk. You're going to go back in the cage.
Oh.
Stop. You're trying to pull my pants down. All right, let me see if I can find something for her to
All right.
chew on for a bit. Come here. You're such a jerk. You have to be the same. Distracted with the toys.
I didn't even see her take my hat.
She's sneaky.
She is. She's quick. Ah! Okay. It's like the leaning tower of Nike and all, Air Jordan back here.
It's all. Yeah, we're just gonna. Let me close the door. Maybe that'll help.
Maybe. Soundproof.
Hear us.
Yeah, soundproof the room.
I know. I have stuff and I need to do it. It's also like there's no air conditioning in here, so
right.
It's like I have one I need to hook up, but it's also
like a project and a half.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I'm lazy. All right. Okay. All right. So we're talking about Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to that, Martian Manhunter, I love. Which
I've never seen that.
He's in a bunch of episodes. The green guy.
I thought that was Green Lantern.
No, there's Green Guy. There's Green Lantern, but then there's Martian Manhunter.
Oh.
You have if you watch Justice League.
Okay, well, you have to remember, Bill. This was back in 2000, and I was 3.
I'm gonna show you.
My memory's not an elephant's.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can find
Martian Manhunter. I'll probably recognize him once you show me.
What's his actual name? So that's what he looks like.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He's got like a regular name, though.
Oh. Was he on all of the episodes?
He wasn't a lot.
Okay.
What's his name? What's his name?
He never got a movie either.
No. Manhunter. John Jones.
John Jones.
But it's spelled like J''ONN. You know, the Martian way.
Right.
The way it's spelled.
The Martian wave. English.
Of spelling John Jones.
Right.
But it's, I love that. Now, okay. Another topic you wanted to talk about, and I'm sorry, these are like really blunt transitions, but I'm just going to get to it.
It's fine.
Was dating during quarantine.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting because, like I said, I didn't know when you and your girlfriend started dating. So I was like, well, maybe this is something.
So our story is basically this. She went through a breakup in like January of 2019.
Okay.
And so right around that time that she broke up, like we started talking. She's friends with Mary, and so she was just around a bit. And so we started talking, and then we started kind of hooking up. And then after about 6 months, I had developed quite a bit of feelings. She wasn't ready to be in a relationship. She kicked me out of her car one night because I was like, I have feelings. And she's like, I'm not ready for this. Get out of my car.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I thought that was it for us. And then she started showing up to like things that I was doing, like my weekly shows. And just kind of, and I like to tease her and say she was stalking me. But it's not like I was sad to see her.
Right.
And then around December of 2019, we made like official. And so like we were pretty new in our relationship once quarantine started. And it's pretty tough on her just because she didn't have a job.
Right.
So she was kind of losing her mind just with nothing to do.
Right.
And but
what does
overall,
she do?
She's a cook.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think she's like chef level, but she likes to downplay it a lot. She's really, really good. But she works for a restaurant, and she's like really talented. But she also worked at House of Blues when they were open, and like she could do anything they needed there.
Right.
They should be bartender or server or like bar back or whatever they needed.
Right.
She could fill in for anything, and she's a really hard worker, and so not working was a little bit strange for her.
Right.
And but we did real well. I mean, we had a lot of fun.
Right.
We drank a lot.
What else are you gonna do?
A lot of quarantine drinking.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you're much of a drinker, but
I like my Moscatos.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she likes bubbles is what she calls it, but champagne is her.
Right.
That's her
Bubbles.
She likes whiskey and she likes champagne.
Okay.
And that's kind of her jam.
Okay. Right on.
So how'd you meet your guy?
Yeah, well, I guess kind of similar thing, but a lot faster. I was like kind of talking to someone, and that ended. Mm-hmm. And then my boyfriend was, long story short, he moved out here from Vegas.
Okay.
Not because of me. Let me just clarify that. It was actually for the internship that I had last summer. At one of the marketing agencies downtown, his best friend was like my boss. And so he was like, hey, you want to come out to Cleveland basically? And he's like, yeah. So he came to Cleveland and I met him officially in early November, but I was still kind of like talking to this other person.
Yeah.
Right. So we were just friends, didn't think anything of it. Just, worked together, saw each other occasionally, like outside of work. That was it. In like groups of people. And, he basically was like, I was like, I want to start a vlog in 2020, like not just doing the podcast anymore and also up my podcast game. And he was like, so helpful, like spent hours on the phone with me, was like, this is what, like the equipment you need. Cause
Is this from Vegas that he was doing that?
No,
Okay.
from Cleveland.
From Cleveland, but
right.
But is this when quarantine started or just like?
This was right before quarantine. So this was like late December, early January.
Okay.
And he was basically, cause he does audio and video editing. So he was like, this is what you need. Like, I'll edit your vlogs for you. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, that's so nice. Thank you. And I was like,
you want to edit some other stuff for free?
right. Hey.
My stuff's simple. It's
Right.
one shot.
He loves it though. He loves editing. But anyway, so then basically this other thing ended and I had to call him literally the next day to discuss. The vlog was supposed to be like going out either that day or the next day. And like we had stuff to talk about. And I'm like not really together, kind of crying and, just not in the best place. And then, so he was just like there as like a friend.
Yeah.
To just, whatever. And then I was like, and then my mom said something. She's like, well, if you keep talking to him, like, she's like, do you think like you like him? Because my parents already met him at church because he plays on the worship team. He plays piano. He's also a piano teacher. So if you need piano lessons, let me know. But so then basically it was like the end of or middle of February, they had a show where they played at the Holiday Inn in Independence, actually, and right down the street from my heart. And I like went with another friend of mine who does some work for them as well. And I was just like, I just sat there and I was like, I think I like him. But I like, it was like so quick and so soon, like I didn't want to say anything. And then like literally the next day, and I didn't say anything. And literally the next day he texted me and he was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, I really like you. I don't want to like put us in a weird position. Our friendship's like the most important. But if, you know, you think like this could go somewhere, I want to start dating you.
Good for him for pulling the trigger.
Right.
Yeah,
I was like, man, the frick up.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes. I think our stories are a little bit different. Like, you guys were friends first. We were just kind of banging for a while, and then we got to know each other. So I think the stories are a little bit different. But
right.
like you guys, it's almost the exact opposite.
Right. So then I didn't want to, there was like a lot just to it. So I said, you know, like, and I replied kind of how you may sound. Your girlfriend was like, I was, well, maybe a little different, but I was like, I think I like you and I think I want to do this, but I'm just not ready right now.
Right.
So we actually did like a 8-week, it's called Relationship Goals by Michael Todd. He's a pastor in Oklahoma. And I just was like, you know what? I think this would be really good for us to both go through, because he's like new to church. And I was like, let's just go through this, see like what discussions we have from it. Let's see like if we're on the same page about things, like all this stuff. And so we did that for 8 weeks and we just got closer and closer. Got to know each other more.
All right, what are some of the things that you do in relationship goals? Like what's an example?
So
of
basically
something?
it's like a sermon, and we watched it, but then, you know, so we take notes, and then after it was over, we would kind of like go through like the notes that we each took and see like, because sometimes he would write something down that I wouldn't write down, and then it would like invoke like discussion just about like marriage or like future like family life, or just like how to deal with like conflict or like communication within a relationship. But from, of course, like a more biblical standpoint. So yeah, we just like,
now when you say biblical standpoint, you're talking about like communication and love and comfort, not a man will lead a woman, and like
right.
it's not like a sexist point of view.
No.
It's more of a just communication and
right.
and understanding and open-mindedness.
Right. And it was just like, I mean,
because there's plenty of people that would be like, oh, from the biblical point of view, so he gets to have multiple wives, and you know, there's some stuff in there that's like a little, you know.
No. He just in the pastor that we were watching, Michael Todd, he even had his wife come up and preach with him several times. Okay. So it was a male and a female perspective. It was for married people, single people, divorced people, like all spectrums, things that you can just
I
take
should
away.
try this with my girlfriend, see how far we get, because, you know, well, like I said, we did it in a very different way.
Right.
A much more, I'll say, secular way.
Right. I still think, like, even though, you know, I tell, like, even, like, people who don't really believe, I'm like, I think this is just good in general. And it's even good for, like, friendship relationships. It doesn't even have to be, like, a romantic relationship either. It just teaches you, or, you know, makes you think about things that maybe you wouldn't think about otherwise.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, we did that for like 8 weeks.
I feel like I've done that just through trial and error, basically by being like divorced and in a bunch of relationships and like having gone out with a lot of people.
Right.
Like I know what I would need to ask to be like, all right, how do you feel about this shit?
Right.
Kind of thing, so.
Right. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. I feel like even me, like as I haven't had that many relationships.
Yeah, it's a good guide for somebody that hasn't been through that stuff. Like that sounds like it would have been really helpful for me when I was like your age.
Right. And well, I even wish that I would have seen this when I was like 15. Yeah. To be honest with you, I was like, man, like they should like everyone who's like a teenager should watch this. But yeah, so we did that for 8 weeks, and then because I told him, I was like, I don't want to be like official until like we kind of get through this, just to like the time, and just I'm like so logical in my head. So then after that, he like asked me officially, you know, like if I would be his girlfriend.
Well, while you were in quarantine, were you guys like seeing each other? Was it like?
Yeah, we saw each other.
Okay, so you like made that like decision, like, okay, we're gonna only see each other and kind of like.
Right. So basically, during quarantine, I saw him and my roommate, who I live with, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. Like I saw work people, like Pound Cake and Alan and Mary and my girlfriend, and that was
Right.
All I saw.
Right. Yeah. So it was basically like that. And I always joke like that we haven't had like an official first date. And like we technically did have a first date, but it wasn't when we were dating yet. It was when we knew that we kind of liked each other, but we were still like just kind of.
Well,
like,
then, yeah, you
guys
should go on a date. What are you doing tomorrow? You come to my show, Hilarities.
Oh, man.
Comedy Club for first date.
I know. I'm like one of these people, like, not that I want to talk too much about coronavirus, but I'm like one of these people.
You're being very cautious.
I'm very cautious.
And I completely
I'm
understand
overly cautious. I'm one of these people where I'm like, I don't want to go to a restaurant. I think people who are kind of like insane, but do you? I don't know.
It's a little terrifying. And then you see these stories about people that are like young that are getting like, not even just dying, but like having long lasting effects. And so I completely understand that and respect it. So
right.
Yeah.
So, and he sees like way more people than I do. Because like I said, he teaches piano. So he's like going into people's houses and then he's on worship team. So he sees like those people from the church, like at least probably once a week or something. And I'm just like, I'm trying to like stay as low profile as possible. Yeah. Obviously I need to start working. So I'm going to see people, but
you know, a date. You guys can could go on an official date where you're not going to a restaurant or something.
Right.
He could take you to the park on a picnic or something.
I would love
Step
a picnic.
up your game, bro.
I would love a picnic.
Take her on a date.
I know.
Nikki deserves a date.
I do. He's such a good guy though. So thoughtful. He takes good care of me. But we officially started dating in April, early April.
Are you guys about the same age? Is he a little older?
He's 27.
Okay. So he's a little bit older than you, but not much older.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think I need that.
I think
guys my age are sometimes.
Yeah, they're dumb as fuck. It's fine.
Bill said it, not me, but I was thinking it.
But you know who you are, and you know you are, and
if
also,
the shoe
like,
fits.
Yeah. No, I'm like 10 years older than my girlfriend, so I think that generally happens to, especially someone that maybe has some sort of like stunted adolescent problems like myself. Anyway, the point is. Last time we were talking about the Garden of Eden, and this is just going to be the final thought here, and you don't even have to answer, but if God plans everything, then he meant for them to eat the fruit and then all of us to live this life of consequence. So thank you guys so much for listening. Check out my interview right now with this week's Instagram hottie. I honestly don't even know who it is yet, but it's going to happen right now, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and also check out Nikki's podcast, Little Talks with Big Nikki.
Yes, check it out.
This is the Bill Squire Show.